been a lot of moving and shaking within X-Men the last few weeks. Lots of information dropping on the new Destiny of X. What I'm considering a soft reboot. Some people have disagreed with me, but I think after we get into the details of the news that we're going to talk about today, I think you'll just have to agree that this is, if it's not a soft reboot, it's just a relaunch, because they're changing pretty much all the parameters of which they've been operating, other than they are on Krakoa still. And here with me to talk about all the wonderful things, or maybe not so wonderful things happening with that X-Men this week, is my good friend, the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado himself. Doc, how you doing, buddy?
I am fine, man. God, my decision to eventually, in the not too distant future, become an X-Man reader is looking more and more prescient.
My goodness. So, we're going to see if we can turn that frown upside down, Doc, and get you smiling about this stuff. We do have a few articles to talk about. We've got a little bit more information, not a ton, on the Chris Claremont Gambit series. We've got new information about a returning villain to Marauders, as well as what it appears to be an X-Force relaunch, as well as some Knights of X stuff, things that we kind of assumed. If we have time, we'll talk about the newest issue of X-Force, but that'll be at the end. And before we get into the details, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And now let's get to it. So, Doc, we knew that Chris Claremont was returning for a Gambit series. 2022. This is be kicking off right about the time that they're entering this Destiny of X soft reboot in March and April. We're getting a cover by Will Portacio, which depicts Gambit alongside a DH Storm. Seems to be paying homage to X-Men 266, which was the first appearance of the character, that being Gambit in X-Men titles. I don't know. What do you think about this? Obviously, all the information that's new that we're getting is from the cover itself.
I'm wondering whether or not, from this cover, the only information that I have is, God, I hope this is an X-Men series set in the past. And I'm wondering whether or not Chris's one issue coming up of X-Men Legends is setting the stage for this issue. Chris is doing X-Men Legends number 12, and that would be the perfect kind of way to introduce and then springboard into this Gambit series. And I hope to God, because this is what basically from X-Men 266 all the way up until X-Men like 272, when she gets re-aged on Genosha, like right up at the during Extinction Agenda. That was, Storm running around with Gambit. Well, like tween Storm running around with Gambit. And I would love the shit out of getting more adventures from that period before they ended up meeting back up with the X-Men.
It makes sense. We know that Marvel been doing these in-continuity series that are essentially jumping back 30 years. We've gotten Symbiote Spider-Man. We've got Ben Reilly Spider-Man coming up soon. We've had Maestro. We've got that. We've had X-Men Legends. We've got an upcoming Silver Surfer book. And it looks like this Gambit book is going to be more of the same. I'm personally loving the hell out of these. Gives you an opportunity to read an important story about a character, but you don't have to deal with the current Marvel continuity, which is absolute bullcrap. And I think it just makes it much more enjoyable. And it's a nice break kind of from what we're getting on a lot of the other titles.
Exactly. That's a book that would keep me around. Right now they've completely lost me from that X office. And this is a book, this and X-Men Legends are books that will keep me around. Keep me still buying things out of that office, because otherwise I don't give a shit about the current continuity. I don't give a shit about the current status quo. In fact, I abjectly hate it. So if you're telling me I'm going to get to read new stories set in a era or a continuity that I actually like and that is recognizable to me as a lifelong, Marvel fan, then yeah, I'm probably going to jump at the opportunity. I skipped a lot of Symbiote Spider-Man, but I kind of am kicking myself now, and I kind of want to go back and read it now.
Oh, you should, because it's been absolutely fantastic. Of course, we know we've also got that Venom Lethal Protector series coming out with David Michelini. So they're bringing back a lot of the writers that were associated with these really great stories. Peter David, obviously, James DeMatteis, now Chris Claremont. So I am loving these things, and it's a great, it's a great alternative to the other comic books that are out there. Now, we do have to talk about the current X-Men continuity, which is about to take a big change with this soft reboot. We knew that Marauders was coming out. It was going to be rebooted back to #1 with the new crew to go along with the new writer and Steve Orlando. And now we know this character that they've been teasing at, but we hadn't got the information for, is in fact going to be Cassandra Nova, who Marvel themselves are billing as the deadliest villain in X-Men history. And it appears that she's going to be back in the good graces of Krakoa and the mutants on Krakoa, and she's going to be joining the team. Although in the teaser itself, it does say, "I am here to ruthlessly defend our kind. I've grown so bored of bloodless heads." For those who don't know who Cassandra Nova is, this is, I think, Charles Xavier's twin sister, who obviously went evil. Seems like another odd choice.
Yeah, she is the Mumadri of Charles Xavier that he killed in the womb. And her mutant, because he's a mutant and he's a world-class Omega level mutant. So is his Mumadre. She survived as a just kind of just a psychic entity. But yes, look, she's responsible for killing 16 million mutants on Genosha. She was also the subject of that terrible fucking Tom Taylor X-Men Red series. And with, again, trying to snuff out the entire mutant race. She's had 2 periods of existence in Marvel continuity. Grant Morrison wrote her, Tom Taylor wrote her. That's it. She died when Grant killed her. Tom Taylor didn't kill her because he's too much of a coward to do it. And her entire existence has been defined by trying to completely genocide her own race because she's pissed off at her twin brother for killing her in the womb. But she's a mutant herself. So you know what? No, look, in no sane world does anyone do they even bring this chick back? They don't bring her back, period. I mean, they definitely don't put her on an X team. It's just that simple. So, the same office that is constantly, ukulele boy over there thinking they can simultaneously claim that Scarlet Witch is the pretender and everyone of her kind should hate her for depowering a few million mutants, while simultaneously accepting Cassandra Nova and even and not just straight up slaughtering her the minute that they see her, putting her on a team. Do you think that that any sane world can hold those 2 thoughts simultaneously? You're fucking high. You can't.
I don't know if I'm high, but it does not sound like the backbone of a really good story. I imagine they're trying to do something similar maybe to what they did with Apocalypse, but a little bit different character. I don't understand why they're going this direction, but obviously, I don't know. The term, we have to wait and see, but do we have to wait and see? And that's the question, Doc.
No, because it's a stupid premise. You know what? When you don't need to wait and see, when the premise is so laughable and so ridiculous that no sane person could even start with it. That's when you don't have to wait and see. You know where I don't have to wait and see? When I'm going to stick my finger in a light socket for the 37th time. You don't have to wait and see. It's going to end up fucking stupid.
So Doc does not give that one the seal of approval. We do have information on the new X-Force team, which is also relaunching. Not sure if this is going to be a number one. I bet it is. They're going to stick with Ben Percy as a writer, but Robert Gill, who's been illustrating quite a few of the issues as of late, is going to stick on and be the new X-Force artist moving forward. And the teaser that we got seems to indicate a slightly new mission for the team, and with some new complications on Krakoa. Apparently, there are some monsters hidden beneath the surface, as the teaser text indicates. Beneath the sunny surface of Krakoa hide secrets of monsters. And then we also, in the imagery itself, we can see X-Force members, Wolverine, Kid Omega, Beast, Sage, and Forge, all hooked into a sentient-looking Cerebro device with the semi-hidden text that basically says that they're called it Cerebrix, is what it is, with the caption status online. We've seen Cerebrix in the past. Do you think this has any connection to that?
Well, we've seen Cerebra.
Cerebrax.
Yeah, it has no connection to. I read the article. It has no fucking connection to that. Look, all this is hey, I called it. When did I call this? I'm sorry, during House of X and Powers of X. Remember the sentient Cerebro that Steve Siegel and Joe Kelly created back around shortly after Onslaught? That then Joss Whedon copied the story when he decided to do his Danger arc in Astonishing X-Men. Yeah, the sentient Cerebro that actually can influence Charles, the one from way back then. That's what this is. It's all because that was the original Cerebro. Then then there was no Cerebro for a while. When Grant came on to X-Men, they had to create Cerebra, which was a different machine. It was literally starting from scratch. So they did. It went from Cerebro to Cerebra, and now this one is Cerebra X, which more than likely is just a renaming of the sentient Cerebro from way, way, way back. And hey, Ben, you can't rely on me to save all your stories by giving you outs for them.
This is my deal with this one, Doc, is that X-Force really had a couple of the coolest storylines that were introduced post House of X Powers of 10, specifically the Zemo story, which seems to be all but dropped until this week's issue when they show back up in the very last panel, but they forgot to end that one, or to give us
they forgot to end any of them.
Yeah, they're just kind of moving on.
Yeah, we never got a conclusion to the vampire shit either, man. None of this had it. Like over in Wolverine, we never got any conclusion or really got any finality to the Terra Verde shit. We haven't gotten any.
Terra Verde is in X-Force. The vampires were in Wolverine.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. But it's still Ben Percy, and he's writing them like one book half the time. And so we haven't gotten any conclusions to anything that's been introduced at this point. And they keep bringing this stuff back up after dropping it for like 4 or 5 months and expecting us to still care. No, so you have this month, it was kind of a combination of, this was mostly on Xeno. I don't understand where they're really going with this. I mean, the thing that I'm seeing out of this is, hey, by the way, we're finally accepting that we need to make an excuse for why these characters are acting evil. But at the same time, the X-Force is the one book where you didn't need to really do that. I don't get where they're going with this. I don't understand why I mean, we got what, like maybe 2 issues of X-Force left before this fucking relaunch thing, right? So they need to conclude
in January
something.
all the X-Men books stopped. Until the end of Wolverine.
No.
Lives
that was the original thing, and then they're like, except for X-Men and Sabretooth and this and that, and basically it was everybody. This is just all. The only things that are stopping are Leia and Tinny's books. That's what it came down to.
All right, well, speaking of Tinny, we got some information on that. Marvel's Knights of X. This was not a surprise. I called this one in the video. It was pretty easy to see. Ends up getting basically teased in the Excalibur series finale. We got some new information, basically with this storyline being teased back in Excalibur way back when. But basically, this is going to be Tinny Howard and Bob Quinn, which I find very disappointing. Bob Quinn was the artist on Way of X, which I thought was very well illustrated. The teaser, that we have, the tagline is, "A world of magic and adventure awaits unless you're a mutant." And basically, in the art itself, we see Betsy Braddock, Rachel Summers, and Gambit hiding from a large creature, standing in front of a wall, which shows relevant status of different mutants. And then it's kind of an homage to X-Men 141, which obviously was associated with Days of Future Past.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is... They can't let Tinny fail. They just can't. Sorry, she failed, Marvel. Give it up. Look, they're just trying to make it seem important. Make Knights of X seem important. I mean, she still gets to keep Gambit, even though Rogue is in X-Men. I thought
Gambit was going to be a stay-at-home dad.
He's still listed as going to be in that book.
No, I'm just saying. I thought that was like the big storyline coming out of Hellfire. Remember that?
Yeah, I would think so too. But no, they're gonna. Yeah, he wanted to stay home with the cats.
That's what it was. He was gonna be a stay-at-home cat dad.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. No, look, this is. Look, this is a failed book before it launches. You know why? Because the last version of it was a failed book. They're trying to make anything that Tinny's doing seem important, so that
you can put a new coat of paint on a turd. It's still going to smell like a turd. You know?
Yes, it is, and that's all this is a new coat of paint on a turd. All you did was they're just going to let it dry out a little bit, so maybe the outer crust will. You know what? I'm done with this.
We don't have to get into the details. I think people got the metaphor.
Yeah. No, but look, this is a book that still shouldn't exist.
The good thing is, Doc, at this point, there isn't a House of X Powers of 10 leading into this to have you like ready and willing to try whatever. It doesn't matter to me how good 10 Lives, 10 Deaths of Wolverine. I'm not going to try Knights of X, no. Maybe on a worst of the week segment, if I hear that there's an issue that's particularly bad, and I imagine there will be one or two, but I don't have to go in there. I might try X-Force because I do like Ben Percy. And, but even there, I don't feel the need to jump into any of these.
Look,
and that's a good thing.
They gave one of the few remaining decent artists in the X office, Bob Quinn, to the worst writer left in the X office.
Leah Williams is still there.
Come on. Leah Williams and Vita are still there, and even Jerry. Honestly, I think Tinny's even marginally better than Jerry. But regardless, they gave her probably one of the better of the remaining artists. And I'm sorry, outside of Andy Kubert, or is it Adam? I keep fucking confusing them.
I believe it's Adam. I think Andy was just doing Batman.
Okay, yeah, Adam. I'm sorry. I've been guys. I apologize. I've been confusing you for 35 years. I'm going to continue confusing you for another 35. Whichever Kubert brothers on Wolverine is basically the only talented artist left in that office doing regular work. Lionel Yu is
continuing to do regular work. If I'm being,
you're right. I mean, he probably is gone at this point. They have no name artists left in that.
They're
office.
Rebooting everything else. I don't know why they wouldn't reboot Wolverine.
And like that Gil guy that's on X-Force. I'm sorry, he sucks.
There were some terrible faces. I don't think we have time to get into it, but that issue. It's not Gary Brown bad, but
it's still bad. Look, this guy sucks, and they gave the only halfway decent artist left to Tinny. So great. You get to waste another good artist. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm surprised he's not on that Legion of X or Legion.
He should. Yeah, that's where I expected him to go. He was the artist. He would have been perfect for that Legion of X title because his what he did on the whole Way of X and stuff leading up to the Onslaught Revelation. No, it would have been perfect.
I don't want to get into Jordan White too much, but you can't take Bob Quinn's art and move the praise that he had on Way of X into Knights of X. No, he's just going to be illustrating a bad book. One of the reasons people like the art, besides that it was good, is it was with a good story. It's kind of a waste. You don't. That's not how it works. You don't get to transfer the success over on another title into this one just by doing it.
And I'm sorry, but while Bob Quinn's a pretty good artist, he's not an artist that I will follow. I will not ignore a bad writer to read. All you've done is now make his art invisible for the next 6 months or 12 months or however long, because you know what? Nobody's going to buy it on this bad comic. That's just the way it is. That's the way it works.
That is This Week in X-Men. We're not going to have time to get into that X-Force issue, but I will guarantee you it sucked. I'm glad they're rebooting apparently, but we do have the Claremont series Gambit. Looks like it's going to be another one of those Marvel in continuity 30 years ago tales. But loving these series. I'm really glad that this thing's coming out. Imagine it's going to be 5 issues like all the rest. Cassandra Nova seems like an odd choice to be joining any team within the current X-Men line. We'll see if with Steve Orlando can carry it off. I won't know. I don't plan on reading any of these. Well, maybe the X-Force book. Obviously, X-Force getting a little reboot in Knights of X. It's a waste of Bob Quinn, but they will continue trying to make Tinny Howard a thing. It's not going to happen. There's no talent.
It can't happen. I know we're not getting to do X-Force, but I give it a 2-star. There's my reaction to it. It was somehow as bad or worse than the surfboard issue last issue. So
there was like one
issue, so because it was another fucking surfboard issue with characters I don't give a shit about. So don't buy this book. In fact, drop X-Force. Maybe come back to see whether or not hey, Ben Percy, once again, I can't save you from all of the bad decisions in that office, but I will keep offering ways to get out of Ukulele Boy's fucking stupid ideas.